welcome. You are listening to the Live Lama podcast. I'm Gunjan.
I'm Rajiv.
Rajiv, the other day I was scrolling through Insta and I came across this reel which was talking about water memory. That if you are talking something negative about anyone or anything, water will absorb that. And then a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
influencers, new age gurus, they were also talking about that, if there is a water which is there and people are talking around it, then you should spill that water.
Talking negative or positive? Because
So people are talking and they talk all the stuff,
okay,
positive, negative.
I
So whatever water is there,
will
it should
absorb.
be
Okay.
thrown away. The water will absorb, and they were claiming it that you can Google
Hmm.
it, and it has been proven by research. On the contrary, I Googled it. When they said
Hmm.
Google it, I am a very obedient person. I Googled it. And they said there is no scientific backup for this theory. My
Okay.
question here is that
Uh,
there's so much of information. We are loaded with information.
uh,
How do we verify that whatever we are
yeah.
consuming or whatever we are, like we say, sharing is caring, but I
Like
don't
fake
forward
news versus real news. Yeah. Okay.
exactly. And I don't forward
Hmm.
anything unless until it's a joke because it really doesn't matter. But yeah, I do not forward such information. But for our listeners and for elderly people who are like so much loaded with the content, how do we decide that, okay, this is real and this is fake?
I think first of all, anything that you see on social media, I always assume that it is fake. So
Even
my
if
default assumption
even if it is
doesn't
a
matter.
very great, new age guru or a
Whoever.
money
See,
influencer or
because all
anybody.
these, it doesn't really matter. I have read, many years ago, there used to be by all these quote unquote scientific journals and scientific research proven that eggs are good for or bad for you. And then suddenly after 10, 20 years, oh no, eggs are good for you. Having 2 drinks a day is fantastic for your health. Oh, even one drink will derail your health, will increase your heart attack, whatever the stat is. So I think that one understanding we need to have is that whatever is printed, unless you understand the source behind it, you should always assume that there is somebody out there who is funding that research and is getting the data published. So question is why and who is doing it. Now, I'm not talking about, the journals like the scientific journals, which are peer vetted, and those are like, they have very, very rigorous process before anything gets published. So those obviously, I don't read them much, but, whenever I read any scientific paper from those websites or journals, my default assumption is that yes, it is vetted and it is good. But there are also a lot of things that have changed, and it becomes very difficult to say what really is true. So my default stance on anything that I read on social media online, or even in the news on TV, or even in any of the shows or anything, you have to understand it is being documented, written, curated, whatever, by someone with a particular point of view. Once you keep that in mind, then you will be able to, I would say, balance the truth versus false. But it is a problem. It has been always a problem. I remember that my one of my aunt, she was like in the 80s, and this was like many years ago.
Okay.
And I was visiting her in Punjab. She was, I think, at that time around 80 to 85. And just we were watching TV, and there was some ad about something, and one of the celebrities was the spokesperson. And she said, "Yo, yeah, this is really good." I said, "My Taiji." So I said, "Taiji, how come? Have you tried it?" And she said, "No, see, this guy is saying it, so it has to be good." So,
उससे
so
पैसे मिल रहे हैं ये
this
बोलने
is
के.
exactly. So this is where the human psychology comes in. This is the media, news, sensationalization. Everything is based on that psychology that we tend to believe what is written without we verifying it. If it is written, we have very strong gravity towards assuming that it is true without verifying it. If it is spoken, we have strong tendencies to think that, hey, it may be a gossip. If we see something, because we are, visual, so we assume that whatever we are seeing is true. So it is playing on the human psychology.
And
But
I want to bring this very interesting thing here, Rajiv. For years and years and years, we've been eating ghee as Indian community, which is clarified butter. We've been eating it. Then foreign companies came in and they
yes,
got the research
saturated
that
fat,
ghee
yes.
is saturated fat, which is not good for
Yeah.
health, and it increases the cause of heart attack. And they
Yeah,
introduced
cholesterol.
their oils,
Yeah.
right? They
Refined
introduced
oils.
oils, refined oil, and that this is good for health and not at all chip, blah, blah, blah. 50 years later, obesity has gone off the chart in India.
Yes.
Reason? And now people are going back to basic because celebrities
Yes.
are eating, they're consuming ghee with their coffee.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the first thing that they are
Yes.
taking.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
people want to switch back. And this is how things work psychologically. Like if someone says that ghee is not good for health, your body will also start responding like that.
Why do you say that? You're talking like a Baba.
I am
The
talking
water
like a
Baba.
Baba. But again, as they say, you are placebo. Your body will react the way it is listening. So
Yeah.
you have to train your body. You have to train your mind in certain manner. Or maybe you are just looking for those proofs that, okay, I ate ghee and I gained weight, or I ate this much. So that's what I'm saying, that these things have negative, positive, all sorts of impact on human being. And how do we verify that?
Some time ago, we were discussing the same thing in some different contexts. I was discussing with somebody, in the US, and we were debating the same thing, that, hey, given the information overload we have, from all different channels, social media, your phone, all devices, newspaper, journals, the 200 channels that we watch, there's like information overload. And then how do we actually understand, is it a narrative being told by somebody, or is it something that is based on some, at least some iota of ground truth? And, ultimately we said it's very difficult because nobody has enough time in their busy life to actually think and to, do the necessary research, go to the source, or get at least, counterpoints to what you're reading. Because this is, if you remember, we talked about the confirmation bias and other biases and all that. So we also, each of us is also, we have confirmation biases. So we seek to read and to listen to or watch the things that we are already biased towards. So it is very difficult. So you have to be, like you are saying, that you have to be very conscious about it, and you have to be aware that, yes, there may be something more than what you're reading or what you're listening to.
Right. And if I talk about newspapers, people have their own loyalty towards the newspaper. They read certain newspaper
Habit,
only.
yes.
Yeah. It's not like that they're reading whoever is giving
Yeah,
them
it's a matter of habit. Yes.
It's
because I grew up, yes. My father was reading a certain paper and I grew up seeing that in my house every day, I would just gravitate to that.
Right.
I would never, and that is true. Even today, I read the same paper that my dad used to.
So here the comparison is, whatever print media is giving, it is giving that. On the contrary, when you scroll social media, it will bring you things that you want to listen, that you want to see. If I forward or like 2 reels which are opposing or criticizing one of the party, everything that I will see will be around that, which is
Yes,
scary.
hyper personalization.
Which is scary. My sister and I, both of us, we shop from Myntra. The kind of clothing Myntra shows her compared to kind of clothing it shows me, they're
Yes.
different. And when she shares it with me, I'm like, why is it showing you this and why is it not showing?
Yes.
We are typing the same keywords. But then,
because that's how the
because
algorithm, the personalization.
exactly.
I wrote about this, I think, in 1999. And
Okay.
this was one of the things I had called out that, with personalization, the problem would be we will become our own echo chambers. Not just in, what we consume, but all like the information, but also in how we shop. And I predicted exactly this thing that, what will happen is that you go to online store like Amazon at that time and you search for certain shoes, you select 2 or 3 shoes, and the algorithm will keep showing you the same kind of shoes over and over and over and over again. So you have locked yourself into your own echo chamber. And that is a problem. Today, if you pause, the algorithm have become so good and the technology has become so advanced that today you are on, let's say, YouTube, and you are watching a particular movie or something, and you switch over to Facebook or you switch over to Insta or anything, you will see exactly the same thing because there's something called, we call that as breadcrumbs or pixels, and there are many things that different technologies. So the algorithms, the technology has become so good that yes, it is hyper personalized. And this is where I think the biggest problem is, because what will happen is like the things that example you gave. I've heard about things like, you cannot shout in a room where you have plants and the plants, feel and all that. They may, I think every living thing
Yeah.
feels,
And when you
even
talk
the wall.
nicely to them, they grow faster, is what I've
Yeah. They had experiments around playing music or Mozart next to the plants, or all these things I always take with the lump of salt, not just grain. So, it's like, because, the problem is that, one, there's no way to verify it. And, who did the experiment? When did it do? What was the detail? Who knows? Whether it is true, not true. Does it really matter? It is all entertainment.
Yeah. My understanding was that they need good sunlight, good water, and good air. I did not know that they need music and who's playing this music in jungle and who's playing this music in
Exactly.
evergreen forest. Nobody,
Exactly.
right? Still,
Yeah.
and nobody's taking care of those forests.
Yep.
It's just growing by itself.
Yeah, exactly. The universe has its own laws. We don't need to over-engineer them.
Rajiv, there's a lot of information available on it. Lot of information. When we were growing up, when Google just was there in 1998, 99.
You were growing up, I had already grown.
Yeah, okay. And we had to type the questions, what we are
Yes.
looking for. Now, without even typing, without even uttering a word, it shows us where are we going and
Yeah, predictive, yes.
where are we going and how do we verify that this information is correct or it is accurate?
All of the information is available on the web.
It is.
And that leads to information overload. Now, how do we sift through that? See, my perspective on this is slightly different.
Okay.
Unless it is life and death situation, or something that is very important for you. How does it matter? Whether the plants listen to music and grow, or, whether use your common sense. Use your common sense and think that, really, what will happen. So think about it. Each one of us is filled with all emotions, negative, positive, and everything. So it doesn't really matter what even if you get Ganga Jal or whatever, the purest, distilled water, RO water, and you drink it right from the tap, if your mind, if you are yourself, the container is all messed up. So how does it matter?
It
so,
does,
so for
Rajiv.
me,
It does. I tell you why and I tell you how. During COVID, second wave, it
Hmm.
was horrible. And fake news was at all-time high.
Yes.
This is what I think. So maybe it is
Yeah.
at all-time high today as well. But
Yeah,
at that
because
time,
election.
oxygen cylinders are available, beds are available, talk to this person, talk to that person. It was horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And my son volunteered for an organization which was verifying the data. And my son was calling each, and so they had a Google sheet, they had volunteers pan India, and they were uploading that. They had a Google sheet which was verifying that whether the data was accurate or not. My son was calling each and every hospital. How many beds do you have? How many oxygen cylinders do you have? And there was a person who said, if someone calls me again, I will call the police. So that was a fake number someone just gave. So there are areas where it has to be verified whether
Yes.
it is true
Yes,
or not.
that's
And COVID
that's
was
what
a
I said
different,
earlier.
yes, COVID was a different thing. But again, if you look around, there are a lot of people who need donors, maybe for eyes, kidney. There are a lot of things happening around us. So again, someone has to verify. How do we know that, okay, what we are consuming is right? Even for simplest thing like visa, slots don't open, then people come up, they say that, okay, we'll get you the slots, give us this much of money, or we'll get you a job, give us this
Scams.
money.
There are so many scams.
There are so many scams going on. So yes, we need to be, and yes, we need to verify. But how do we verify?
I go back to what I was saying earlier.
Okay.
One, yes, when there is a life and death situation, like in the example you gave, COVID and all that, if you take a decision, then you should verify definitely, right? But there will be limits to exactly how you said. But you have to understand that information is changing on a minute by minute basis.
Yes. It is.
Even for situations like you said COVID, you called and the hospital said we have 5 beds. And the person on the phone does not know how many patients are being registered at that time in emergency. By the time the person hangs up the phone, all 3 beds may have been occupied.
Very true.
Right? So for you, the information was false. So that's what I'm saying, that one, we need to understand that the information is changing by the minute. Second, there are many, many, many people who want to misuse information for either profit, like scamming, or they want to misuse information for entertainment, like rumors, or for mischievous reasons, or anything. So once you put that hat on, a perspective on, then I quickly say, listen to your gut. Your gut will tell you, how accurate, how confident you should be about the information. The problem has become that we do not listen to ourselves, which is the theme of our podcast also, like self-actualization and self-realization, that, how do we start listening to ourselves? Our body, our mind, all of our nervous system is trying to send you a signal. But at that time, you are not listening to it because you are very happy or sad or whatever emotion you're feeling in that moment, based on the information that is in front of you. So then all of it is for entertainment. I see this everything as, as entertainment only.
Yes, and there were times
You can verify.
No, I just remembered something and I want to share it. And this is how you have to be mentally strong, is what I say. People will send some mantra and a photo of a god, and they'll claim that send it to 5 people and you'll
That people
are coming. If you'll ignore this
Yes.
message, then this will happen to you.
Yeah.
I will reply and tell them that if something bad happens, you will be liable for it. And I am not forwarding it to anyone. Going
No,
forward,
but the
going
thing
forward,
is that,
forwarding such mails to me will
Yeah.
lead to a very
God may not be angry, but I will be angry at you.
I will be angry. So you please do not
I will
waste
make your
my
life miserable.
my time
Yes.
and your time, and
The-
don't send me such mails.
Yeah. The
Then I
God
got
may
an
not
apology mail.
give a
No,
shit
I'm
about
very
you, but I will
and
come.
then I got an apology mail. No, I'm very superstitious and I got this mail in the morning and all. Like, you need to be strong and you need to know that who will respond to that mail.
But that is how the world works. See,
Right.
you have to understand
Dealing,
that
yes, yes.
all these things work based because one, we are fearful. Second, we are too attached to the feeling of happiness. We want to avoid misery and we want to be happy. And that leads to the, fear. Or I go back to what I always say, that there are only two driving forces, desire and fear.
True.
Fear of losing and desire of something. And both these things will impact our behavior. Exactly like you said, the fear of, some bad luck should not happen to me, because there 10,000 things are happening in your life. You have a job, you have, you have a family, you have your money coming in, you have dependents and everything. You're fearful that, your life as it is rolling up, should not be impacted. And you also have a desire to be better or, progress and all that. So that is how narratives and superstitions get founded and become stronger. So yeah, I think, so you have answered your question already. That is why people will listen to all these, babas who claim all of these things, that, hey, don't drink water if it is, the water is in presence of 20 people,
And then all people are
whatever.
doing all sort of things which will make the water impure, and same
Yeah,
people.
the
Yeah, they
water is
take
already
holy
impure,
dip. No,
if
no,
it is.
no. They'll take holy dip in Ganga, washing away all their sins, and then people will drink that.
But no, but how is it possible? You see, thing is, we also, throw all the ashes of the, in Ganga, and
Yes.
so many pollutants. So this is where all the things, it goes into more faith and religion and all that, and that's a different ball game altogether. The height of, I would say, superstition and faith and belief. So, and that's exactly what happens. Those things show up in all these narratives that we listen to and we abide by.
And
So the short answer is that, one, we will never be able to verify with 100% accuracy anything in life.
never say never.
So never say never, or whatever you want to say. And second, it doesn't really matter.
Unless until it's a life and death situation, yes.
Yeah, but there too, just like the example that you gave, even in that case, because by the time you get the information versus by the time you act upon it, so many things have transpired.
We've promised our listeners in a pilot episode that we'll not talk about the lie that happens every 5 years in India and every 4 years in US.
But
But
it is
this is the election year going on, and
Yeah.
there are a lot of things which are coming up. My humble request, make a conscious decision. Just don't be a blind follower
Of what and whom?
of any party, any political figure, anything. Don't be a blind follower. And I've said this earlier as well, that I detest the idea of blind following.
But we do.
We do.
For politics, but each of us have people that we look up to, and we look up to them blindly. Now, just so happens that the person may be a politician or a god or whatever. The thing is that, see, you have to understand there are fundamental psychological things that each of us have, and this is part of it. That's why even just yesterday we were having this discussion on watching the news, and my aunt was here, and couple of other people, and talking about all these different political parties. I said, don't be so passionate about it. Look at it as entertainment. Everybody's trying to, you are the customer today. It's like, you are in a very busy market and everybody's trying to vie for your attention. All political parties and all that, they're, it's similar to you going into any market, the, old school market, where hawkers are, calling you, hey, look at, come in and we'll give you the best this thing and all that BS and everything. So that's exactly what is happening. After June 2nd, all of these will go home, shutter down after 9 p.m. Everybody goes home. Nobody cares about the customers and nobody cares about which shop that you went to. The life will go on. So that's what I'm saying. You have to take all these things in a very, very, I would say, broader perspective. And what you read, what you listen to, even this podcast, I'm assuming nobody's taking it so seriously that that it's like the holy truth. It's not.
We are just unraveling the lie. We may or may not be telling the whole truth.
Yeah, we are, because our perspective is still, not as broad as there will be many other people who can talk on the same topics with much more depth than we are doing, with much more research. There's a lot of psychology involved in this. So, but it is fun.
It is fun. It is fun. All for entertainment purpose only. I want to end this show with a couplet that was written by Ashutosh Rana. He wrote a very long couplet about all this is going on social media. I just want to read last 4 lines because I think these are the most impactful one, where he said कि देश चलता नहीं मचलता है, मुद्दा हल नहीं होता सिर्फ उछलता है, और जंग मैदान पर नहीं सोशल मीडिया पर जारी है, आज मेरी तो कल तेरी बारी है.
Exactly. Nicely put.
Exactly. Nicely put. Right. Thank you so much for listening. Do visit our website, thelilalama.com. Do let us know if you would like to be our guest. We'll be more than happy to host you. Until then, keep listening. Thank you.
Thank you.